Hello and welcome back to our tutorial series at part 16, where we now will add line of sight to our enemy. Last time we left off, we did add an attack system that I'm pretty happy of. I'm really happy because it subtracts health and over time, and when we move away from the enemy, he chases us, and that's what an enemy should do. And I'm going to increase his speed to like 4.5. I don't want to be able to outrace him too much. I kind of want this to be like, a Maze Runner game where, he will catch up with you. And the goal is to not run away from him, but to find tight turns and maybe outrun him. And again, he is pretty, we do have physics and he doesn't. So, we can't push him over. So the only way really to get anything done is by running away from him and taking really tight turns. So, and he is still pretty slow. So I'm going to set it up to 5, make my difficulty a little higher. And I'm going to save the scene. And after that, let's get started into our coding. And so how do we do a line of sight? A lot of people actually have this question because you can do this in first-person shooters. We can do this just anywhere. Every enemy needs a line of sight, really, and you can make it more complicated or less complicated. This one works typically for me. Even when I was working on RTS, I wanted a line of sight for troops that walked far away, and so they couldn't see over hills and stuff. And this is the exact method I used, so pretty happy with it, and you can really use it anywhere. So let's open up our script here. And to do a line of sight, we're going to go to our go-to, right? And so we're looking at our player here, and we're looking at him, and now we're going to do a ray cast. A ray cast is a ray. So let's paint. I got a little tablet, so it will be a little easier. Hopefully I don't have that weird clicking effect. So a ray is a dot, that's array, mathematical definition. And a ray cast is we go from our one point to a direction. And a direction, as we know, is a vector 3. And it goes into a direction, and something that we do in this is we can do a distance, or we can do an out, and then we can push out and check if it hits something by doing a ray cast hit, which is anything here. So this is a ray cast. Then this right here, this little point, is a ray cast hit, and we basically just grab this and we check if this isn't null, and if it isn't, we're going to check what it is that we're actually hitting. And Unity does do a great documentation of it, so if you want to read up on it, just search raycast hit and raycast in the Unity documentation. So I'm going to exit out of this guy over here. No, don't save, and let's go on. So in our raycast, we want to specify our raycast direction, and for this we're going to use our object's forward direction. And to do that, we're going to do vector 3 because it is a vector 3. We talked about that in our direction, and let's call it forward or FWD. I kind of want to make it similar to the documentation style, so when you see it, you won't be surprised by what it is. And to get that, we need our transform. So our current object and our transform from direction, so it's relative to this object. Do that, we just do dot transform, and we see transform direction, and it says direction from local space to world space, which is what we want. And what do we want from world space? We want the vector 3 dot forward, which shorthand for writing vector 3 or new vector 3 0 0 1 in the z direction, like so. And now we want to specify what our raycast hit is. So we just want to have a holder variable, kind of like for our other scripts where we have we call something inside the parentheses. Same thing going on here. So we're going to do a raycast hit, and call it, we can call this one buddy as well as reference to the other thing. And again, you might not want to call it buddy in the real world, but it will help you remember that this is just a reference. And here we're just going to do an if statement. So if we're hitting something, so how do we cast a raycast? Well, it is physics. So physics, and of course we want to do a raycast. Well, so I've been saying all the time, which is dot raycast, and here we say origin, direction, and maximum distance layer 15 plus overloads, right? But we just need 3. So let's click on our raycast and for more parentheses, and our start position of this ray would be our transform dot position. Our direction of this will be our FWD, so our forward of this object, and we're just going to push out our hit or our buddy, right? So if buddy is not null, that's what this if statement stands. Says if but we're actually hitting something. Let's do this. And so we're gonna do buddy. So we're gonna check if the buddy's name is player, right? So dot transform dot tag, and we probably want an if statement in this actually. So if buddy's tag is or not equal, so we're seeing if it is something like a wall, so we want to do a not equals, and if it's not equal to player tag, then we're hitting something else, and that means that we cannot continue and go to the player, right? So we can't look through walls. This guy doesn't have X-ray vision. However, you can make a bool that probably could, but this guy will not. So let's hit enter, and let's do. So if it is not, we're just going to do the current state will equal looking for. So we've definitely lost him. State dot look for, and we've definitely lost him, and we should just return. We shouldn't even finish whatever is here. We're not going to even try to move towards him. We're just going to return and end all this by doing just a simple return. And that will just return all the way to the top, and it won't even get here. But if it does, I'll just return. We're cutting this short. And similarly to, we're finished. We are, finished with that. We can go to our now game and click game object, 3D, cube, and let's make this guy pretty big. Let's maybe like this. This guy. I'll do something like this. Right, and let's grab our player and move him down here. So now, we are looking for, right? So that's what I'm seeing in my console. Let's click on our enemy, and we indeed are looking for our enemy, our player. I look here, and then he comes after me, and I quickly take this turn, and I lost him. And how did I lose him? Well, if I go to the back, like the cheater I am, I can see where I lost him. And he is indeed here. So right where he was here, I passed this guy, and he said, well, never mind, Osterato, right? See ya later. So we can, make a whole maze and stuff, and that was pretty exciting. And I hope you enjoyed that part. Now let's make our character die if he does get hit. So our player has health of 0. Let's unclick that. Let's go to our script really quickly. And here, or even better, let's open up our player script because it is part of our player. So I'm opening up our player script, and all our magics here, and in our fixed update, we can simply, or not our fixed update, it's not to do with physics, so we're just going to do a void update function, and here we're going to say if health is less than 0, we could do 0, but like my character has right now 0 health, but yeah, less than 1. So if it is 0, or 0.5 or whatever, we're gonna load this level again. And the way we do that is a load or application, because we're dealing with the application side, dot load level. And we can do this by the index in the build manager. So let's go into our Unity and we go to File, Build Settings. We see that we do have our scene added here, and we called it, and there is 0 here. So we can call it by 0, or we can call it by the name. So we can call it test or 0. And to add it, of course, you just add current. You can keep on adding the same one over and over. Delete. We'll delete these scenes, and you can also do that and all that fun stuff. So, but we'd already have it added, so let's keep it at 0, and let's call it by the name. Do that. We just do parentheses or quotation marks since it is a string, and test. And it does have to be in your build settings for this to work. Let's go into Unity and make our player have health of 1. Save. And indeed, now we are looking for, and let him get me. So he does have 2 seconds off the bat to hit me, and he hit me. And the reason why you're like, oh, well, now the light changed, and that's because we do have light maps enabled. And to eliminate that, we just click on our directional light, and instead of real time, we can just hit baked and play around with that. Or, we can add more lights. But this will work for now. And, as light maps do get baked, you can play around with the lighting. But this is the end for this tutorial series. I hope you did enjoy learning how to create a enemy AI system. And I hope that you also enjoyed creating physics and knowing how to set up a whole player and kind of getting started with Unity in general.